What if I told you that somewhere on Earth there is a quiet village where birds suddenly fall from the sky year after year? No thunderstorm, no explosions, no predators chasing them. Just a dark, foggy night and birds dropping from the sky as if something invisible had confused them in mid-air. For decades, this strange phenomenon has puzzled villagers, scientists, and researchers alike. And the place where this mystery unfolds is a small hill village called Jatinga, located in the northeastern state of Assam in India. At first glance, Jatinga looks like any other peaceful mountain village. Rolling green hills surround the area. Thick forests stretch across the landscape. Clouds drift slowly over the valleys, and the air often carries a cool mountain mist. Life here is simple and quiet. But once a year, when the monsoon season begins to fade and the nights grow darker, something strange starts to happen. Between the months of September and November, during certain foggy evenings, villagers begin to notice unusual activity in the sky. It usually happens between 7 and 10 at night. The air becomes thick with fog. The wind begins to move through the hills, and the visibility drops dramatically. Then, suddenly, birds begin to appear out of the darkness. At first, only a few, but soon, more and more birds start flying erratically through the mist. Instead of flying smoothly across the sky, they begin circling, diving, and losing control. And then, one by one, they fall. Some crash into trees, some strike rooftops, others simply drop onto the ground. To the villagers watching below, it looks almost supernatural, as if the birds are falling directly from the sky. For many generations, people in the village believed the event had a mystical explanation. Some elders believed the birds were possessed by spirits. Others thought the phenomenon was a sign from supernatural forces. In the past, when birds fell to the ground, villagers sometimes collected them for food, believing they were gifts sent from the heavens. Stories about the strange falling birds of Jatinga slowly spread beyond the village. Travelers began visiting the area, researchers became curious, and eventually, scientists decided to investigate the mystery more closely. Among the first organizations to study the phenomenon was the Zoological Survey of India. Researchers spent years observing the birds, documenting the weather conditions, and analyzing the environment around Jatinga. What they discovered began to reveal part of the answer, but not the entire story. The birds involved in the phenomenon are usually small migratory or local hill birds. Species such as kingfishers, drongos, tiger bitterns, and other forest birds have been recorded during the events. Interestingly, most of these birds are not naturally nocturnal. They normally fly during the day. So when they suddenly appear at night, confused and disoriented, something unusual must be affecting their behavior. Scientists believe the key lies in a rare combination of environmental conditions. First, the dense fog that frequently covers the hills during certain nights reduces visibility to only a few meters. Second, strong winds moving through the valleys can push birds away from their normal flight paths. And third, artificial lights from the village play a surprisingly important role. When birds flying through the fog see bright lights below, they may instinctively move towards them. This reaction is known as light attraction, a behavior observed in many bird species. But in Jatinga, the effect becomes unusually intense. As the birds fly closer to the lights, their sense of direction becomes even more confused. Instead of flying upward or away, they begin flying lower and lower. In the thick fog and darkness, many birds lose control completely. That is when they collide with objects or fall to the ground. To someone watching from below, the scene looks extraordinary, almost like the sky itself is dropping birds onto the earth. But even with this explanation, scientists are still left with several puzzling questions. Why does this happen so strongly in Jatinga, but not in other nearby villages with similar weather conditions? Why do the events occur only during a short window of time each year? And why do the birds seem particularly vulnerable during those specific nighttime hours? One possible explanation involves the geography of the region. Jatinga sits on a narrow ridge surrounded by steep valleys. This creates a natural corridor that many birds may use during seasonal movement or short-distance migration. When fog fills the valleys and winds move through the hills, birds flying through this corridor may become trapped in confusing air currents. In that moment of confusion, the lights of the village below become the most visible reference point, and instinctively they move towards them. Over the years, conservation groups and wildlife experts have worked with local communities to change how the phenomenon is handled. Instead of collecting the fallen birds, villagers are now encouraged to rescue and release them whenever possible. Today, Jatinga has become a place of scientific interest and ecological awareness. Researchers continue to study the birds, hoping to understand their navigation systems and the environmental triggers that cause such unusual behavior. Visitors sometimes travel to the village during the season, hoping to witness the mysterious event themselves. But even today, the phenomenon does not occur every night. The weather must be exactly right. Fog must be thick enough. Winds must blow in the right direction, and lights must be visible through the darkness. Only when all these conditions align does the strange event begin. Then, for a brief window of time, the skies above Jatinga transform into one of the most mysterious natural spectacles on Earth. A quiet hill village, a night wrapped in fog, and birds descending from the sky as if drawn by an invisible force. Even after decades of research, the mystery of Jatinga is not completely solved. It stands as a reminder that nature still holds many secrets, waiting patiently to be understood. And somewhere in the misty hills of northeastern India, when the fog rolls in and the lights begin to glow, the sky may once again reveal its strange and silent secret.